It is a glorious Sunday here in Nashville, Tennessee. We had a cloudy morning, a little bit of rain, but now the skies have cleared. Temperature at 60 degrees, a light wind, and bright sunshine in the skies above. Mike Munchak, in his second year as head coach, guided the Titans to a 9-2 record a season ago. And standing by along the sideline with our Laura Oakman is Brian Urlacher. Laura.
Thank you, Tom. All right, Brian. There's been so many comparisons to your defense. You know what I'm going to say. To the 85 Bears, I know. I already see the look. And the team you did play on, the 2006 Super Bowl team. What is the identity of this one?
We play hard, number one. We're physical, fast defense. We get takeaways. We get pressure on the quarterback, stop the run. Everything it takes to be a good defense. We got to be more consistent at times in games, but we get off the field and we score touchdowns.
All right, so number one thing you want to see today is?
Consistency for 4 quarters, not up and down like it was last week.
Thank you so much, Brian. Tom, back up to you.
Laura, thank you very much. It was a tight one indeed last week for Lovie Smith's Chicago Bears, getting a game-winning field goal from Robbie Gould as time expired in a 1-point win over Carolina.
You know, Lovie Smith, you saw Brian Urlacher roll his eyes a little bit with Laura talking about the 85 Bears, the 2006. But Lovie Smith knows that that pedigree is something you can tap into. You can challenge these guys with the history of this great Bear franchise.
Well, the Bears will begin on defense. Tennessee wins a toss, has elected to receive. So Robbie Gould set to kick it off, and Darius Raynaud waits back. Gould spins it away, and this one is underway. Deep in his own end zone, Raynaud will bring it out. And across the 20, the 15, and he is slammed to the deck at the 20. Offensively for the Titans, they rank 24th in total offense. Matt Hasselbeck making his 5th consecutive start for the injured Jake Locker.
2 gifted young receivers in Kenny Britt and Kendall Wright. The tight end Jared Cook is a great intermediate target. And Steve Hutchinson, they've got to draw on his experience because this offensive line has been beat up a little bit and is in flux.
Yeah, in fact, they had the right side of their line, Dejon Harris and David Stewart, both left last week on the same play with injuries. Harris not starting today. Deuce Latui, his first game action, and wide open down the middle of the field. And the catch is made, the ball is loose. And right from the get-go, the Bears had their 24th takeaway of the season. Stripped out of there by who else? Charles Tillman.
They just swab this out with Washington. They bring Britt underneath. They're about to have a big play to start the game, and then this happens. This goes beyond coincidence. Their ability to create turnovers, the Chicago Bears, this is who the Chicago Bears are about, and the Tennessee Titans, this is the last thing they wanted to do to start the game.
33rd career forced fumble by Charles Tillman. How in the world he went his first 9 years in the league before he went his first Pro Bowl, we'll never know. And now Jay Cutler, who started collegiately at nearby Vanderbilt University, hands it off to Forte. A penalty flag down after a gain of close to 4 by Matt Forte.
Holding offense number 87. 10-yard penalty. First down.
That's Kellen Davis, the tight end, talked about Chicago. 24 takeaways, 2nd in the NFL. But look what they've done once they've taken it away already. They have scored all the defensive touchdowns, just keep coming at you week after week after week. 6 interceptions returned for touchdowns, and of course Tillman a big part of that.
Just a great job. That, like I said, doesn't happen by happenstance. That was a deliberate punching of the ball to knock it out. This team plays to that mentality.
First and 20, and once more they'll get it to Forte, and not much running room. A gain of 3. Now the Bears on offense have certainly frustrated more than they have sparkled so far this year.
Well, we talked about the need for Matt Forte to get cranked up. Brandon Marshall, that's who the offense goes through. Devin Hester, not only on offense but in special teams, needs to start showing up. Lovie Smith told us about the need for that. And Gabe Carimi, this offensive line's been under attack a little bit the last little bit. They need their first-round draft pick to anchor this line to playing better.
Well, it was an ugly 3 quarters against Carolina last week for the Chicago offense. Butler was sacked 6 times in the game. A second straight handoff out of the shotgun, and Forte into Tennessee territory to the 45-yard line. It brings up 3rd down and 9.
The Bears told us that they were going to challenge the Tennessee Titans nickel package in the running game. We've seen a lot of 3 wides to start the game, and they've almost exclusively run from it. They think they see something in that front 7 they can take advantage of.
Four-man rush. Cutler completes a pass to Earl Bennett, his former running mate at Vanderbilt, but far shy of a first down. So after taking the ball away on the very first Tennessee play, Chicago forced a punt.
That's a big win for the Tennessee defense to turn the ball over that way. Last week, 3rd down was a tough spot for the Chicago Bear offense. They were 2 of 8, Tom. That was a big reason why they left themselves vulnerable against the Carolina Panthers.
Reynaud stands back inside his own 10-yard line, awaiting on the punt from Podlish. End over end, and fair catch signaled for, and then he'll let it bounce over his shoulder through the end zone for a touchback. Chris Johnson has been on a roll of late for the Titans. Can he continue it today against a #1 defense? Welcome back to Music City, USA, Nashville, Tennessee. Our aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. Second possession. It lasted 1 play the first go-around on a completion to Kenny Britt, who fumbled the football. Now Hasselbeck comes out throwing once more on first down, right back into the midst of Britt, and that'll be a gain of close to 9. Chicago defensively, #7 overall in the NFL, #1 against the run, littered with stars, beginning up front with Julius Peppers.
That's a pretty good start, bringing Peppers off the edge. They move them all over the field, and Urlacher and Briggs, they found the fountain of youth. They're playing as good as they ever have, and Tim Jennings leads the league in interceptions. That's a pretty good combination to throw at anybody.
Jennings entered this season in 85 games with 7 career interceptions. He already has 6 this year. And on second down and less than a yard, tough to tell whether or not Johnson got there. He appears to be just short, pardon me, Brian.
Yeah, every defensive coordinator we talk to says what? You got to stop the run. Usually that means bringing that 8th guy down in the box. Not in the case of the Chicago Bears. They feel like they can handle the run with just their front 7. If they can continue to do that, that's where they get the latitude in their back end to do so many different things that leave the opponent vulnerable in the passing game.
3rd and yard, back into the hands of Johnson, and he is denied the first down mark. The #1 rushing defense in the National Football League, giving up just 77 yards rushing per game. On 2nd and 1, on 3rd and 1, they stop Johnson and the Titans.
And the last thing you need to do is embolden this Bear defense, but we've had 2 series, created 1 turnover, and stuffed them twice with 1 yard to go. That Bear defense is feeling its oats.
Devin Hester owns NFL records for career punt returns for touchdowns. 12 of those kickoff returns for touchdowns. 17 of those. But it's been quiet the last couple of years, and Lovie Smith said it's time for him to step up and get back to where he once was. That one brought up to the 27-yard line. Second possession for Brandon Marshall and the Chicago Bears in a scoreless game from Nashville. Well, for those of you that are under 30, that is called an album. Those are called albums.
You just threw out a bunch.
Yeah, I know. That's
You didn't keep any of them?
They called it pre-loved music.
Had to keep a couple of those.
First down for the Bears. Forte cuts it back to the inside, still on his feet, and is shoved out of bounds at the 43-yard line. That'll be a gain of 15 on first down for Forte, who's been bothered with a sore ankle going back to the Green Bay game.
Boy, in the middle, they just got blown up early. And Forte, they had a stun on the inside in here. You can see that it opened up on the outside. We said that Matt Forte's got to get cranked up, not only in the running game, but dropping the ball off to him in the passing game. He's a 50-plus catch guy. The combination of the two could be lethal for the Bears. Might help with their consistency.
Spotted at the 44. That is a gain of 17 for Forte. Play action looking down the field for Marshall. And Cutler trying to get away, and he takes a big hit. Akeem Ayers, in just his second year out of UCLA, started 16 games as a rookie, and he's really coming on strong for this Titans defense.
Well, and you can see Jay Cutler here. Mike Tice, the offensive coordinator, has been after Jay Cutler. Throw the ball away. Don't take these hits. You're going to take enough in the pocket. When you get outside the pocket, nothing there, throw it away. That was an unnecessary, punishment on Jay Cutler's part that he could have protected himself.
Closing in on 9 minutes to play in the opening quarter. Blitz coming now, and it should have been intercepted. Had an eye on Bennett, but right through the midst of Jason McCourty.
Jay Cutler, the receiver, had not even come out of the route. Bennett turned around, a little bit of surprise. The ball was behind him. Little miscommunication between Cutler and Bennett as to where he thought Bennett was going to be.
Third down and 10 for Chicago. Close to the intended receiver, Brandon Marshall. So for a second straight series, the Bears will punt it away.
They talked about last week here. You can see again another third down that's not converted. He's feeling the pressure. He's throwing off his back foot. You got to follow through. That's where the accuracy comes from when you throw the ball. Just like a tennis player or a golf swing, you don't get that follow through, you really have no control of where the ball's going to go.
Very short punt by Pavlich, and it will drop and be down right at the 20-yard line. Chicago has already forced one turnover. They'll take the field when we come back. No score. Titans and the Bears. On the banks of the Cumberland River. Welcome you back to LP Field in Nashville, Tennessee. Cutler 1 of 3 to begin the afternoon for 2 yards. And already the Bears have punted on each of their first 2 possessions. Hasselbeck throwing on first down once more. That's Nate Washington, and he's up to the 22-yard line. That'll be a gain of 3. On Honor of Veterans Day, for every point scored during the NFL's 32 Salute to Service games, the league will donate $100 to each of its nonprofit partners, the Pat Tillman Foundation, USO, and Wounded Warrior Project. To join the salute and learn more, visit NFL.com/salute.
Go! Easy. Goal 15!
Hasselbeck again out of his shotgun on a 2nd and 5. And the best carry early on today. It's good enough for a first down. A penalty flag is down as Johnson crosses the 31-yard line. This might come back. Terry McCauley, our referee.
Illegal formation, offense. The tight end was covered. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Yeah, they had Jared Cook in a 2 tight end package, flanked out or like a receiver, and he was up on the ball. He had covered a tight end. It's those kind of things right here. You can see over in here, and there's another guy on the outside right here. They end up getting covered on this, and this last play to Chris Johnson is a good example. He has run the ball better, but in 2009, a play like that might have been cranked off for 30, 40 yards. They're not getting the big plays out of Chris Johnson. He's running okay, just not the explosive.
2nd down and 10. And thrown into coverage. And that is incomplete. That was in and out of the hands of Craig Stevens. Well, he took a big hit, and another penalty flag is on the far side. And once more will be against the Titans.
Illegal formation, offense, the tight end was covered. The penalties decline, third down.
Brian, how does that happen 2 plays in a row?
You know, and right now, Mike Munchak's asking the same thing. He's an old Pro Bowl, Hall of Fame offensive lineman, and wondering, you know, how. Right here, you can just see on this right side, he's on the line of scrimmage. He's on the line of scrimmage. It's just, you know, you got to know better. You practice this stuff all week long. You have the same people in the same alignment. You break these formations out to test the defense, but you got to know where to line up.
Well, they had a first down out across the 30-yard line, and now they're staring down the barrel after back-to-back penalties at a 3rd and 10 against the Chicago defense. And Hasselbeck just a flip to Johnson, and he picks up maybe a yard. And once more, Brett Kern and the Titans punt team will come out onto the field.
You see this all game long with the Bears. They come up, Urlacher and Briggs come up into the gap to pull protection and then bail out. They're trying to create one-on-one matchups with obviously Peppers and Milton so that they don't get help by any other lineman.
Bears should get pretty decent field position on this 3rd drive of the afternoon. Punting from his own 5-yard line is Kern. Picked up by Chicago, and it's a touchdown for Corey Woot. The Bears have scored 6 touchdowns on interceptions returned to the end zone, and now a block punt picked up by Wooten, and a 3rd-year defensive lineman out of Northwestern, his first career touchdown.
Pressure in here with a stunt coming around on the outside by Stelz, and then ultimately from the outside looks like McManus. You know, this is not fair. I half jokingly told Lovie Smith, between your defense getting interceptions for touchdowns, if you could get Hester or get a special teams touchdown, heck, you don't even have to send the offense in. I'd punt on 1st down. Let the defense and special teams score.
Point after by Gold is good. So, with neither offense doing much of anything, first big play turned in by the Chicago special teams, blocked by McManus. And Wooten rumbles to the end zone. First score of the afternoon. Sherrick McManus. Well, that's getting it done the Northwestern way. He's out of Northwestern. He blocked it, and his old running mate for Northwestern picked it up. Corey Wooten, and carried it into the end zone for a touchdown. 7-0 Chicago. Raynaud out across the 15. And is tackled at the 22-yard line. Let's go back and take a look at that block punt.
Well, let's coach it up here a little bit. Sherrick McManus, you're going to see him come from the outside, and you're going to see the angle that he takes is perfect. When you come in like this, you don't aim for the punter. You aim for that spot right here. That's the course of the line, and you can see where he lays out, right where the ball is going to be punted. And then, of course, Wooten comes in behind it. Right now, this is manna from heaven. He's thinking, you're kidding me. I can go get that jump ball.
That's the Wildcat way. Northwestern Wildcat. We have an injured player. We'll be back to tell you about him in a moment. Xavier Adibi, the injured Titan. They're tending to him over on the Tennessee sideline. 7-0 Chicago. 6:38 to play in the opening quarter, coming off the game's first score on a block punt. And picked up for a touchdown.
Maybe checking something down the hill. No, decided to run it.
Good carry by Johnson. He's up to the 28-yard line. Fox Sports is your home for the UFC, beginning on Friday with a new episode of The Ultimate Fighter on FX. Saturday, it's UFC on Fuel TV 6 live from China. And then on Saturday, December the 8th, UFC returns to broadcast television, the UFC on Fox 5. Benson Henderson will put his light world championship on the line against Nate Diaz. Fox Sports, the place to turn for hard-hitting UFC action all year long. Second and 3, once more to Johnson. And he's short of a first down. It brings up 3rd and less than 2. And we check in for the first time today with our friend Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles.
Well, the Packers trying to keep pace with the Bears in the NFC North. Aaron Rodgers hooking up with Randall Cobb 13 yards later. It's good for 7. Cobb's 5th touchdown in the last 5 games, and they lead it 7-0 over the Cardinals in the first quarter. Tom, Brian, and Laura.
That Arizona team started the year 4-0.
Yeah. And that Green Bay team, you talk about a team with a swagger, they're feeling pretty good about themselves right now.
So now 3rd and 2, they're going to throw it this time on 3rd and 2, and it's incomplete. It is 3 and out for the Titans.
Titans they got to do something to get some energy now. They've had a fumble. You can see he just comes in here with a little pivot route, trying to work his way back out in short yardage. And the receiver thinking the ball was going to come into him. They've had a fumble. They've failed on now a 3rd and 1, a 2nd and 1, now a 3rd and 2, and they've had a blocked punt. Other than that, they're right on target. They got to find something to get some energy here. Maybe a turnover by the defense. Someone's got to do something.
Well, the last time, just a moment ago, Kern dropped back in punt formation. It was blocked by McManus, and here they come again. And Kern booms it away. Hester still waiting. Inside his own 20, flag down. And Hester will tiptoe out of bounds short of the 30. We wait on the penalty flag. Not sure what's going on along that Bears sideline. Tommy Campbell down at the bottom of the pile. That's not where you want to be.
Holding receiving team number 33. 10-yard penalty. First down. Timeout.
They called that on Charles Tillman. So they'll back up the Bears, and we're back. Hasselbeck not happy with this Tennessee start. Just a moment ago, a very special moment here in Nashville.
Corporal Bales, you and your family are going to receive the first home built especially for you in the Las Vegas area in 2013. We want to say thank you for your sacrifice and your service to our country. Congratulations, pal.
How about that? Corporal Bales finding out he and his family are getting a brand new home. Injured. Serving the United States of America. Certainly we thank all those who have served, that are serving, and that will serve. First down attempt at Earl Bennett, incomplete. Tennessee defense became one of just 2 teams in NFL history that gave up 30 or more points in each of their first 5 games, but they feel like they're getting a little better.
Yeah, the pressure on the outside from Morgan and Wembley, and Akeem Ayers, particularly in nickel situations, they bring him a great deal as well. And their first-round draft choice a few years ago, Michael Griffin, beginning to show signs of that value.
Well, they've looked very good so far. Chicago a total of 20 yards of offense, and another penalty flag will be against the Bears.
Offense number 23.
False starts have been a huge problem
Second down.
for this Chicago team. That is 17 false starts, by far the most in the NFL.
And it's getting a little compounded today. They're checking in their run game in their nickel package. They feel like they can see something in the front 6 of the Tennessee Titans, and they want to go either inside to outside or one side to the other. But on the road with this noise, that often can create a problem in terms of procedure penalties.
In his own end zone, Cutler is able to avoid the sack. The ball is tipped into the air, caught by Forte. He is short of a first down, but there is a penalty flag once more.
And if that's holding in the end zone, that is a safety.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Offense number 73. The foul occurred in the end zone. Safety.
How about that? Tell you what, Brian, you know that all the things that have gone Chicago's way in this 6-1 start, but you brought it up from the very beginning. There have to be major questions about this offense.
Well, it does, and as good as they are, you can look and, the ultimate answers were 6-1. You can see the hand going right to the face mask there, right here, as the helmet starts to tilt a little bit, and it happens in the end zone. But you're exactly right. As good as they feel about the 6-1, there's a lack of continuity on the offensive side of the ball. Now, make no mistake, Lovie Smith, when he made Mike Tice the offensive coordinator, wanted to get back to that 2006 mentality. Play good defense, run the ball. But they brought in Brandon Marshall. They've got assets in Jay Cutler that we need to still keep that explosive part of the offense that he tried to retain when he let go of Mike Martz as the offensive coordinator. And right now they're just not getting the continuity that they need offensively to match what they're getting from the defense.
Well, especially when you look at the passing game. And really that's what they built this whole thing around, giving Jay Cutler more and more weapons. There are 32 teams in the NFL. The Bears rank 30th in passing offense. But again, as you said, you get back, they're 6-1 at the end of the day against what has been so far a very soft schedule.
And Lovie Smith will tell you he's okay with that. They don't care about the rankings. Some of it has to do, you know what, we're scoring on defense. So you don't have the same number of opportunities. I understand that. But against the really good teams, you're going to have to make sure that you have some level of productivity and consistency from the offense.
So the free kick fielded by Raymond at the 25-yard line. He has some running room. And he is tackled at the 48. A late flag came in from the middle of the field.
During return, illegal block in the back, receiving team number 23. 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's a second very big penalty against the Titans. One of them, of course, took away a first down, and now this.
Just kind of a late hit, came off, really didn't need to do it. You know, Tom, we said Tennessee needed something. This has gone all Chicago Bears way. But now they got a safety. They started with a nice return here to spark them a little bit. The offense needs to pick up on the little bit of an emotional swing that we have going right now if they're going to sustain this to try to keep up with the Bears.
That is nearly a 25-yard penalty. Hasselbeck on first down. Tipped by Tillman, who is looking for yet another interception. He has 2 of them returned for touchdowns already this year. And we check in again with Kurt Menefee.
And the Houston Texans looking like the best team in the AFC right here. Nice play fake. Shaw hooking up with Owen Daniels wide open. 39 yards on the score. And they lead over the Bills 7-0 as they get ready to start the second quarter. Tom, Brian, and Laura.
All right, Kurt, thank you very much. Tillman knocking away the first down pass attempt. And now Hasselbeck in big trouble, sacked all the way back to the 10-yard line. #24 sack of the year for Chicago. That's tied for second most in the NFL behind only the Green Bay Packers.
What do we talk about all the time, Tom? Pressure on the inside against a quarterback. He hates it when it comes right up the pipe. Julius Peppers isn't even in the game. You cannot re-pull the ball back down against this Bear defense. But by the same token, you're worried about what? The turnover. So he obviously didn't like what he saw. You pull it back down, re-clutch it, so to speak. And Peppers right now has decided, get me in there, man, because I can smell a sack right now.
Set up a wide receiver screen. And that one incomplete. So a drive that could have began were it not for a penalty on a free kick from their own 48 is backed all the way up to the 25-yard line, and after the sack, the Titans will now punt from their own end zone.
Again, I talked about Tennessee being a young team, and that's part of the hallmark of a young team, not being able to seize on that momentum shift. You're exactly right. They had an opportunity after everything going Chicago's way to kind of re-pull it back. All they did is go backwards and now possibly give it back to the Bears by way of momentum.
McCurran, that was the first punt he has had blocked in his NFL career. And that one blown dead before it ever got off the ground.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense number 38. 5-yard penalty, fourth down.
Right now on the outside with these gunners, you can tell anytime a team jams both gunners, and we'll try to give you a look at it, it usually means you've got a return on. We already talked about Lovie Smith saying we've got to get Devin Hester re-involved, re-engaged in the game. This is a great opportunity for a Devin Hester. You're going to see a double on both sides here and here. That usually means return is on.
Low line drive punt fielded by Hester at his own 47, and look out! This is a return they're looking for. And Hester is tackled inside the 10-yard line. Jamie Harper, the touchdown-saving tackle of Hester.
And this is exactly what Lovie Smith wanted to see and was talking about. He felt like Devin Hester was freelancing too much. You're going to see here where the alley creates itself. Stop right here. This is where it's schemed to go. You hold up those gunners on the outside. That gives you that path in the middle. Hester stayed with the scheme and now set them up for possibly another score.
43-yard punt, 44-yard return. First and goal, Chicago. Forte. Inside the 5. They push it into the end zone. That'll be a touchdown for Forte. Block punt for a touchdown. Big return by Hester. Leads to an 8-yard scoring run for Forte.
I want you to first watch the patience of Forte, and now we're getting to Australia rules football here, folks. This is a scrum. This is a rugby play, clear and simple right there. How many bodies can I push in?
I'll tell you get Lance Lewis starting to shovel and shove people around at 6'3", 320 pounds. That pile's going to move a little bit. Forte, his third rushing touchdown of the season. And now the point after by Gold. Good snap, good hold, good kick. Lewis was the one guy Mike Tice talked about yesterday.
Yeah, well, you could see it right here. There's just a lot of bodies. And when offensive linemen see this, they know now, look, as long as I can keep them upright, right here, Forte's job, just stay up, because my linemen are going to get me pushed in. The key is I don't have to go forward. The wave's going to take me in like a surfer right into the shore, and I just got to stay upright because I know they're going to push me and this pile into the end zone right here. Look at this. This goes for a good. They're on the 3-yard line. And look at that scrum right there. That's fun to see.
That's a look from a DirecTV blimp. A big return by that man, Hester. Setting up the touchdown carry by Forte, putting Chicago in front 14-2.
And a lot of people talk about, we said in the open, Tom, that some people, well, this Bears team is getting old. Well, old or mature, which is it? What's the point of view? We're seeing the maturity of this Bears team because we saw the momentum go away from them a little bit, but they seized it back. They're taking advantage of it. That's a big part of why they're 6-1 as well. They're not going to panic when certain things go against them.
That's a question you like to ask your wife, right? Am I getting older or am I just getting
better?
More mature?
I'm like, fine. I don't want to ask her that because I'm not sure I'll come out well on either one of those
You're
counts.
right. You're right. Reynard out of his own end zone, cuts it back to the inside, and a pretty good return up to the 23-yard line. Well, Fox tonight, the most animated night on TV returns. It's animation domination. All new episodes of your favorite comedies, The Cleveland Show, The Simpsons, Bob's Burgers, Family Guy, and American Dad are back starting tonight, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on Fox. The Bears have 38 yards of offense. The Titans have 34 yards of offense. First down, Hasselbeck out of the shotgun. And it's Kendall Wright, good-looking rookie, who had a spectacular collegiate career at Baylor. He's their leading receiver, and they're in hurry-up mode.
Yeah, they got to see if they can calm down this Bears defense by going into no huddle and change the tempo on them.
Gain of 18 on the first down reception, and once more to the air, and once more it's intercepted. Urlacher looking for the end zone. 7th interception return for a touchdown by the Bears this year. Unbelievable.
Well, the old safety from New Mexico reminded him of his old days. Maybe not quite as fleet of foot as he was when he was a Lobo in New Mexico. Look at the grin on his face. He's going to drop back in here. Cook comes up for a sit-down route. I'm not sure that Hasselbeck knew he was there. He lost sight of Urlacher coming on the inside. Thought he could get the ball. Actually was going to the outside with Williams coming in behind Cook. And look at that. That's the old safety in him, staying upright. This is unbelievable. 9 is the records. Interceptions and turnovers for touchdowns. They're closing in on it.
9th consecutive game with an interception for this Chicago Bears defense. And Urlacher, who today makes his 176th career start, all as a Bear. 3rd most all time behind Walter Payton and Olin Kreutz. And we had a chance to visit with him yesterday, Brian, and there is very little doubt. You brought it up earlier, really the trio of Urlacher, Charles Tillman, and Lance Briggs. They might be getting older, but they're continuing to play great football.
And they have a confidence about themselves now. They know what they can do. They have the idea that, you know what, if we just have to do this defensively, we'll do it. We're fine with what's going on offensively. We've got the formula. We've been here before. 2006, they went to the Super Bowl with very much the same formula. They believe they're going to get it done offensively, but with the experience of Briggs, Urlacher, Peppers, and what they do on the back end, this is uncanny.
Block punt for a touchdown. Big return on a punt by Devin Hester, leading to a score, and now the interception is 7th in this their 8th game that the Bears have brought back for a touchdown. Take a look at that. They've only given up 7 touchdowns all year as a defense. It makes it 21-2, and we're still in the opening quarter. And the Titans are looking for answers, something, anything. First play of the game, stripped out of there by Tillman. Block punt for a touchdown, the first for the Bears since October of 2008. They just overwhelmed this Tennessee offense. And now Urlacher to the end zone on the interception delivered by Hasselbeck. Back to the air, and Johnson out of the backfield, and now he loses the ball. And the Bears have recovered again. Penalty flag comes in late.
We'll have to see what they're trying to sort out. Tillman brilliantly batted the ball away to give his team a chance to kind of come up with it.
There's no foul on the offense for an illegal bat. First down, Chicago.
Yeah, and that's what it was. Tillman going after the ball. It has to be more blatant than this. Ball's just a little bit behind Chris Johnson. He tries to put it away and turn up. Again, just a brilliant hit by Tillman. And watch here. He's going to reach down and bat it. They now become an offensive team. They scoop it up and retain possession. Again, that shows you this isn't just happenstance. It doesn't just happen. Briggs getting him under control. Tillman, and watch this, the batting of the ball. They don't wait for turnovers. They create takeaways.
Well, Cutler back out onto the field at the Tennessee 16-yard line, looking to add to a 21-2 lead. And the first carry of the afternoon for Michael Bush. He came over as a free agent from the Oakland Raiders after rushing for nearly 1,000 yards a season ago. Well, and there's plenty of reasons to smile if you're a Bears fan about this defense.
And in fairness to the offense, you know, their numbers at the end of the day may not look great. They haven't needed it. This is a perfect example. You don't have to take a lot of chances here. Why would you? And you can be a little conservative. You got total control of the game. Doesn't mean you won't take a shot down the field, because you're going to play to the strength of what's happening, which right now is the defense.
Cutler delivers, first catch of the afternoon from Marshall. Not much of a gain. So to bring up 3rd down and long for the Bears. as we're down to the final 2 minutes of this opening quarter.
Now right here, they've moved Marshall into the slot, and whether they're playing a zone defense, to just figure you're going to come up and make the tackle. Not a bad plan right there. Keep it all in front of you. You've got to tighten down here.
Yep, ball to Ron Werner, their starting left cornerback.
But right here, here's an example of what I'm talking about, Tom. We've got a 3rd and 7. Obviously, you want to convert. You want to get a touchdown. But by the same token, you're in total control of the game. You don't want to turn the ball over. You don't want to give any life to the Tennessee Titans. So I'll be interested to see what Jay Cutler does. He does have the maturity to know I'm not going to force it down the field. If they want to give me something, I'd be happy to drop it off. They might even run it in this situation because, again, they're in total control of the game. Don't put yourself in a situation where you can give anything back to the Tennessee Titans.
In the aftermath of natural disasters like the Superstorm Sandy, the American Red Cross provides life-saving services, meals, shelter, mobilizing resources and workers nationwide. Visit redcross.org or text Red Cross to 90999. And if you're able to give a $10 donation. So Werner off to the sideline. Clock starts. 3rd down and 7.
Emptied out the backfield. Means the ball's got to come out pretty quick.
Cutler looking around. Touchdown to the back of the end zone to Brandon Marshall. Second completion of the game for Cutler. And it turns into the 5th receiving touchdown this year for Brandon Marshall.
This is classic Jay Cutler. He has got such a spectacular arm. You're going to just see here Marshall on the inside. We saw him earlier in the slot with a short little route. Now he's doing a little nod route. He's open now, but Cutler's not comfortable with it. We don't want to throw the ball into harm's way, but Cutler climbing the pocket and making a throw, getting the ball out of his hand in a way that few quarterbacks can.
Boy, this is getting ugly early. We were talking to Brian Urlacher just before the start of this one. Laura Oakman was, and asked him about this defense.
We play hard, number one. We're physical, fast defense. We get takeaways. We get pressure on the quarterback, stop the run. Everything it takes to be a good defense. We got to be more consistent at times in games, but we get off the field and we score touchdowns.
What they do.
That guy always has a smile on his face. You got to know he just loves playing football. You love to see that. I mean, he's in his 13th year. You could understand how you might get worn down a little bit. Look at that helmet and that uniform. I think they paint that thing on. He can't walk into that. They've just got to paint it on. That helmet's face and neck are busting right out of the helmet. There's an enthusiasm about this guy. And he recognizes how good this team can be.
So the 28 points you saw, the most in franchise history for an opening quarter, and it's a long, rich history of Chicago Bears football. Meanwhile, in the first quarter this year, the Titans have given up an NFL high 103 points. Mercy. As always, we'd love to welcome the men and women in uniform serving around the world, watching today's game in 175 countries and abroad, ships at sea. On AFN, the American Forces Network, we cannot thank you enough for all you do, serving the greatest country in the world. We hope you enjoy the game today, and may God bless you all. Ball batted in the air, and Corey Wooten raising his hands in the air saying, how in the world didn't one of you guys catch that?
Yeah, we've seen a couple tip balls here. You're going to see off this edge up into here. Gets his hands up. The ball bats straight up. This is a jump ball now. We've already blocked one punt and come up with a jump ball. Defensive lineman, you don't get this many opportunity. They're going to hear about that in their room in their film meeting on Monday.
That's Nate Collins. He was suspended the first week of the season, was inactive every game until last week against Their victory in their last outing, and there's a carry by Johnson. But Collins got a chance to play for the first time since wearing a Jaguars uniform a year ago. And Amobi Okoye is inactive for the second consecutive week. They are loaded along the defensive line.
Along with Tuina. And these are two pretty good guys that could probably start for a lot of teams. They can't even make their way onto the active roster, let alone onto the field. That's how deep the front four are.
Under a minute.
Peppers is on the inside. They're usually trying to get something done there.
Blitz coming. Hasselbeck gets it away. And incomplete. Great coverage by Chris Conte, step for step with Jared Cook.
That we talked about these linebackers stepping up into the gap. You can see Briggs right here. And they do that for one reason, to try to get one-on-one with Urlacher, which they get. They got what they wanted. Matt Hasselbeck able to get the ball out quickly, all but for an incompletion.
Hasselbeck 6 out of 12, an interception, 52 yards. And now Kern to punt it. Another short, returnable punt for Hester, and he's tackled right at midfield. Well, they knew what they were getting into running into this new monsters of the Midway. Naturally, the comparisons start right from the beginning, going back to the '85 the Bears.
Well, and you got to remember, the '85 Bears won the Super Bowl. It was the '86 Bears that broke the all-time scoring record at the time, since broken by the team in Baltimore in 2000, I might add. But the comparisons are very apt, because even though offensively the Bears were a little bit more dynamic, I'm not sure that Bear team was able to take away, get takeaways and scores off of takeaways the way this Bear team does.
Bush, a first down carry that will be the final play, one would assume, of this opening quarter. Block punt for a touchdown. Great return, set up a touchdown. Urlacher, an interception return for a touchdown. And we have only played 15 minutes of football here in Nashville, Tennessee. The Bears trying to go to 7-1 on the year with a huge 28-2 lead over the Tennessee Titans. And Fox NFL Sunday will continue right after this.
Well, if you just stay with the first line, you'd say, boy, what a great defensive battle. But obviously, that's not the game we're seeing right now. Turnovers, points off of turnovers, two totally different challenges for those coaches. And now these two gentlemen, Matt Hasselbeck's got to figure, what can I do? We've gone no huddle. We put the ball down the field. What can we do to try to change the energy here in this stadium?
Cutler throw it on first down, finds Marshall. And that's a short gain of 3 on first down, and beginning to strive from midfield are the Bears. Lovie Smith in his 9th year. He's won 3 division titles. Twice has taken Chicago to the NFC Championship game, the 2006 Super Bowl. They have not been to the playoffs, however, in 4 of his last 5 seasons.
And they let go of general manager Jerry Angelo last year as a sign of that displeasure, but Lovie Smith staying on and seeing now that confidence is bore out by the fact that they're 6-1 and on the way to possibly 7-1.
Long way to go. Just underway in the second quarter and on a third down. Boy, how about that catch in traffic by Bennett? There is a penalty flag. He has enough for a first down if the call stands. Bears team scoring 28 points, a franchise record.
There's
in
no
the
foul
opening
for
quarter.
defensive pass interference. First down.
When you think about offensively this year for Chicago, in their first 7 games in the first quarter, they scored a total of 30 points. So almost matching that in the opening stanza here today. First down, they give it to Bush, and he's bottled up, maybe lost a yard. Akeem Ayers in on the tackle for the Titans. Talked about Lovie Smith, his 80 wins, including the playoffs, 3rd most in franchise history behind a pair of Hall of Famers. Papa Bear Hallis as a coach, and of course, Coach Ditka He's a great tight end with the Bears. And
you talk about living up to a tradition now. You got to follow those two names. There's a little pressure with that one.
Second and 11. They pick up the blitz. Cutler rolling, and he'll keep it. And tiptoe out of bounds. That is a first down at the 28-yard line. And we tiptoe to Los Angeles and check in once more with Curt Menefee.
Well, down 7-3 to Carolina. The Redskins go for it on 4th and goal, but RG3 bottled up. Not even close. Carolina's defense with the stop. 7-3 the count right now late in the second quarter. Hey, how about a highlight for the defensive fans, Tom and Brian?
How about it?
Not quite what we got going on here, but still a pretty good stand by Carolina.
The run for a first down, and that one batted down by Derek Morgan.
Now we see more and more teams trying to throw these quick screens to the outside. Morgan just kind of flashes. I don't know how much by design or whether he was trying an arm over move to get past the tackle. And Bears are lucky that thing didn't pop straight up in the air for a turnover.
Push out, Forte back in. They have him in the slot. Empty backfield on the 2nd and 10 for Cutler. Short drop, receiver screen to Marshall. A nice tackle coming up to make the play by Jordan Babineau. And it brings up 3rd down for the Titans.
And again, we see more and more teams going to these college-type quick screens on the outside. Ways of punching a hole in a defense, get away from the interior. Jay Cutler's got a very smooth, quick release. And that's part of his strength. Those types of plays fit his abilities. Always looking for Marshall somewhere on the field.
3rd and 4. Intended receiver was Bennett. Of course, Cutler and Bennett played collegiately just down the road at Vanderbilt University. When Bennett left Vanderbilt, the SEC's all-time leading receiver. It's good coverage there.
And they're glad to have Earl Bennett back. They're without Alshon Jeffries, their rookie wide receiver, who they really feel like, in conjunction with Brandon Marshall, gives them an excellent 1-2 punch. You want to build the box to stop Matt Forte, they'll throw the ball outside to Jeffries and Marshall all day long. They're anxious to get Jeffries back.
40-yard field goal try, Gold among the best in the business, and that splits the uprights. All Chicago, but a long way to go. Ole Opry. Well, what a great city. It's been a wonderful weekend here in Nashville, Tennessee. Of course, Thursday night here, they have the Country Music Awards. Jay Cutler calls Nashville, Tennessee home during the offseason.
Wonderful people here.
Yep.
All the years they came in Baltimore, just the most gracious, kind people you're ever going to meet.
Reynard, a yard out of his own end zone, and he's up across the 20 to the 21-yard line. And a penalty flag is down once more.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, receiving team number 35, headbutt. Half it is to the goal, first down.
It's Tracy Wilson. He was just activated before the game today. That's not a good way to make a first impression.
Now you brought in up off the practice squad onto special teams. Mike Munchak right now just, boy, this is going to test you as a coach. Nothing going your way. You got to find something to hang your hat on. That's the problem for Tennessee right now. One thing is the running game. Can I get the ball in my hand quickly? Can I get it to one guy? Something to hang my hat on.
Well, they handed to Johnson, and that's a good carry on first down across the 15 up to the 16. College football's biggest championship games return to Fox Friday, November 30th, the Pac-12 championship in prime time. And then on Saturday, December 1st, the Big Ten. Pac-10 and the Big Ten championships. Only here on Fox. Of course, the best team in the Big Ten, the Ohio State Buckeyes, are ineligible to play in that game this year. Under their first-year head coach Urban Meyer, they have not lost a game. First down carry to Johnson. Or second down carry, I beg your pardon. He's up to the 19-yard line. We'll bring up 3rd down and 2. And I'm not so sure that Mike Munchak wants to look at this, or Chris Palmer, their offensive coordinator.
Well, there's enough 3rd and shorts. They're in a 3rd and short right here, sitting here with a 3rd and 2. Last 2 times we've been in 3rd and 2 or less, they haven't been able to convert. If you're going to run the ball and try to do something against this Bear team, you got to convert on the 3rd and short.
Well, they're 0 for 5 so far on 3rd down, and Hasselbeck going to roll and dump it off to the tight end. They'll convert this time. Look at Tillman. Not only once, not only twice, 3 straight punches trying to knock that football loose. He finally did knock it loose, but it went out of bounds. Look at this. There's 1. There's 2. And then he finally got there, but out of bounds.
It's like hand checking in basketball. You have confidence in the fact that the rest of the team's going to cover you, that the opportunity for that turnover supersedes those yards after catch we talk all the time. Well, I don't know if there's anybody better at it than Tillman right now.
Handed to Johnson, and he slips the tackle and then is wrapped up by Israel Adonijah after a gain of a yard, maybe 2. Well, I remember you and I talking a couple of years ago as Adonijah is down injured. We were doing a Chicago Bears game. It might have been about 4 or 5 years ago, where we both wondered openly at the time how Tillman had never been to a Pro Bowl. Last year was his 9th season, and it's the first time that he reached the Pro Bowl. They're going to tend to Adonijah, and we'll step out. 9:41 to play until halftime. 31-2 with 9:41 to play until halftime. Alongside Brian Billick, Laura Oakland, Tom Brenneman, our entire Fox crew. Glad to have you with us on this Sunday afternoon as we start the month of November. And that one cross the middle of the field, reeled in by Kendall Wright. Right there, leading receiver now with 42 catches on the season, and they're still taking a look at Adonijah.
Time you start talking about Charles Tillman, one of the reasons I don't think he got the credit he deserved, when you're talking about Lovie Smith, Chicago Bears, a lot of Tampa 2, that 2-deep defense where you don't think of the corners as being top corners because they're there to jam the receiver and play the run. They're not a pure Tampa 2 team, and Charles Tillman finally getting the recognition he deserves as a more complete corner.
Looking on the other side of the field, it looked like Urlacher got tangled up along the sideline with Johnson. No penalty flag. Crowd wanted one.
Yeah, tangled up. He mugged the guy on the outside. I think he got away with a little something there. You can see Urlacher come to the outside. He recognized what's going on here. He starts on the inside, play action. Now he rolls. They're trying to catch him out the backside. And he's just so big. He pins him to the sideline like a true veteran will. So he's got no place to go with it. That was just a nice veteran move on the part.
34 years young, out of Lovington, New Mexico is Urlacher. And wrapped up is Johnson, and once more it's Nick Collins. So it'll bring up 3rd down and 8 for the Titans from midfield.
This is where the Bears are lethal, obviously, with their ability to put pressure in a passing situation on a quarterback like Matt Hasselbeck with just their down 4. I'll be very surprised if we see more than a 4-man rush, which means there's a whole lot of folks back there moving around. He's already been trapped by Urlacher one time, not knowing where he was, and you got Tillman out there as well. Peppers in here. This is where they're trying to get the one-on-one matchups.
And Hasselbeck will easily get to the first down marker, and he'll lay ahead on a defender rather than sliding at the 32-yard line. Lowered his shoulder right into Tim Jennings.
You're going to see Peppers collapse in here at the last second, trying to increase in a lane, gets pinned to the inside, and even a guy like Hasselbeck, normally a guy like Hasselbeck at this stage in his career, ain't going to hurt you a whole lot down the field, but good enough to get the 3rd down in this instance. Lowered his shoulder, said, I'm not sliding for anything. We need this first down.
Hasselbeck spent 10 years As a starter in Seattle, guiding the Seahawks to the playoffs 6 times, including 1 Super Bowl. That's a catch by Britt. But it's a gain of 6 on first down.
You know, the athleticism of Julius Peppers, that's the thing that makes him so special. You're not going to do a lot of this now, kind of spying him outside. They know that Hasselbeck likes to get the ball out quickly, so they're spying Peppers just occasionally. You're not going to do a lot of it. He's a good enough athlete to do that, to get back underneath, maybe create another turnover.
Johnson able to break a couple of tackles and then races right by Conti, and the ball is loose once more.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Another turnover, and it looked like Urlacher was the one who strips it away from Johnson. So just as things were starting for a moment to go the Titans' way, Urlacher pops it loose, and another takeaway for the Bears. All Chicago is 6:36 to play until halftime. Urlacher already 4 tackles, an interception, returned for a touchdown, has recovered a fumble, and now forced a fumble. 4th turnover of the afternoon for the Tennessee Titans. They pitch it to Hester. Flag down. That didn't fool anybody. This will be a hold against Chicago.
Holding. Offense number 73. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
That's Jamarcus Webb. He beat out the former #1 pick Chris Williams to return as a starter this year at left tackle.
Up here where you have these kind of special reverses, all of a sudden the defender reacts, tries to jump to the outside. Now he's got nothing but jersey there. That's the hard part for the tackle. Not hard to see when you're in the outside out there.
It's another change Mike Tice made, taking over as offensive coordinator. He flipped Karimi over to the right side, and Webb, who started all 16 games at right tackle last year, went to the left side. Forte is blasted for a 1-yard loss, and we check in with Laura downstairs.
I just want to give you guys a quick update on Israel Adonijah, who looks like they were taping up his left ankle. It looks like he is going to go. But something we've been talking about is this defense, how much they play as a unit. First thing they did after that strip, ran over to the bench, was all check on him and make sure how he was doing. We saw Brian Urlacher pregame roll his eyes when I brought up the 85 Bears. This team hates comparisons. Rod Marinelli challenged them this year to have a career year as a defense. That's what they've been doing.
Well, thank you. Catch made by Hester. And once more, just not a lot going on offense. And you know, Brian, obviously, I mean, when you're ahead 31-2 and there's 5.5 minutes left to play in the first half, I don't know if you're going to get all that worked up or all that concerned, but Mike Tice is clearly a little bit concerned about this Chicago Bears offense. He said they have not shown up for an entire game in any game so far this year.
Yeah, it's the continuity that he's talking about. Some of it created on their own part offensively, some of it because thanks to the defense, you're not on the field very much.
And then on a 3rd and forever, you hand the ball off to Forte and he gets a first down.
You know, this is a brilliant call here because, quite frankly, you'll do this about once a year because, right, you don't want to throw the interception. Occasionally you get away with it. They did here. It's the right call at the right time. This is what they need to do now to answer what you're talking about, Tom. Let's just put together a good, solid drive. We got the game under control. We're going to run the ball, a little play action. We've got to show we can get some continuity against the defense. We ought to be able to move the ball against them.
A delay to Forte, and he's dropped 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage by Akeem Ayers. I mean, you're talking about a Bears team here in the first half. They haven't needed to do much, but they have 61 yards of total offense against one of what has been one of the worst defenses in the NFL so far this year.
And Mike Tice knows that. Mike Tice played for me, coached with me for a number of years. This is a good coach. He very much in tune with what Lovie Smith wants in terms of the balance between the offense and defense, but still there has to be a level of productivity because against the really good teams in the league, they're going to need it.
Butler, the screen to Forte, set up beautifully, and another big gain for Forte. Crosses midfield, inside the 35, and thrown down to the 27-yard line by Werner. That'll be a first down. Clock running to 3:20 to play.
Well, we've seen a draw and a screen. The big plays here. Patience, upfield rush by Tennessee. Nice job. You throw a good screen right there. Excellent block on the right side by Lance Lewis. Lance, and a nice job of Forte. No one's better at it than this. Look at how smooth this guy is. Changing direction, putting his foot in the in the turf and changing direction. And then what do we see there at the end? Cover up the ball. Tennessee would do well to watch how he protects it.
Bush on first down, close to 10 to spending on the spot. Clock rolling, and we should probably get to the 2-minute warning before the Bears snap it again. They don't have to snap it. Yes, they do. There's a 1-second differential. And Forte again, over 100 yards from scrimmage. That one going for 47. He's averaged 103 yards per game from scrimmage in his career, second only to the late great Walter Payton in Bears history.
That is the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes.
Well, apparently somebody, the play clock at least that we saw, was a little bit off. They didn't have to spend a timeout. It's a 2-minute warning.
I think the league needs to investigate this. I think Lovie Smith's getting extra help from the stands here, Tom. This is an old offensive coordinator that's been blitzed one too many times.
Second down and less than a yard, and Bush has a first down. There was a lot of conversation going on there. We noted that the Bears, at least from the play clock we saw before the 2-minute warning, were going to have to run one more play. Apparently, it wasn't accurate. But Mike Munchak wanted to know an answer from the officiating crew.
Yeah, he saw it the same way. It looked like the Bears needed to call a timeout, that there wasn't going to be time for it to run down to the 2-minute warning, but evidently it was.
First and 10. Trying to add to a 31-2 lead of these 6-1 Bears. Ball is loose. Bobbled and a flip, bobbled again, and a turnover right at midfield. Stripped out of there by Casey, and Wembley is able to pick it up. So the first turnover by the Bears, and with 1:05 left, can the Titans turn this into a touchdown? With a change of possession, they're always going to take a look at it. Brown, the flip, Wembley dropped. Back in a moment. Finally a break for the Titans.
Yeah, and you gotta take the little wins when you can get them. This is a nice turn for Tennessee. Try to make something happen here. Go into the locker room with a little bit of energy. Down 31-2.
And for Jay Cutler, he has been responsible for every Chicago Bears turnover this year. That's a catch, depending on forward progress. Could be enough for a first down, but the clock continues to run. Under a minute. Cutler has thrown 8 interceptions, and that is his 4th fumble. Timeout called by Tennessee, and we're 56 seconds away from halftime. What's that mean, Kurt Menefee?
All right, coming up on the Visa Halftime, we'll put the band back together and get you all caught up on a busy NFL Sunday, including a matchup of a couple of surprise teams as Miami takes on Indianapolis, and Peyton Manning and the Broncos try to continue their hot streak. It's all on the Visa Halftime.
Tell you what, they better be on their best behavior with the boss man, David Hill, hanging around.
I don't think that's going to help. I don't think that group cares. They're going to say what they want to say.
Hasselbeck looking around, and he's still on his feet. And he'll slide for a pickup of a yard. Clock will run. Titans have 2 timeouts remaining, and will spend one of those 2, halting the clock with 45 seconds. They had an eye on Jared Cook down the field, but missed it.
Boy, how he got out of this one. You forget how big and strong Matt Hasselbeck is, but still. just fighting his way out of this. And you got to feel good for Matt Hasselbeck coming to Tennessee, playing so well last year. They decide to go with Jake Locker, which they should. He's going to be the quarterback of the future. They took Locker with the 8th pick of the draft last year. Then due to the injury, they bring Hasselbeck back in, gives him another opportunity now to kind of maybe go out on his terms.
Hasselbeck threw for over 3,500 yards starting all 16 games last year, 18 touchdowns. We're trying to get points on the board before halftime here. This time he finds Cook, who's chopped down at the 30-yard line. That's right at the first down marker. And they're trying to hurry him up. 35 and running. 1 timeout remaining. They're taking a lot of time. Handed off to Johnson. At least to the 21-yard line. And now the Titans will use their final timeout.
Just obviously getting yourself in position. Obviously now you've secured the field goal position. You've got 20 seconds left on the clock. They're out of timeouts, so they do have time here. They can run a play. You usually use about 18 to 20 seconds as the cutoff point to where you can run your field goal team on. Certainly they've got the down and distance in their favor right now, and he could certainly run a play and now still give them an opportunity, maybe a 2-play sequence. If they can, at first down, they could kill it here. So they have a lot of options to take a couple shots to the end zone, but still maintain the field goal possibility. Peppers is in the inside, and you see these linebackers trying to pull the protection.
Fumble the snap, looking to Cook in the end zone. And he caught it, but he's through the back of the end zone, incomplete.
Kind of pass is awful dangerous against this Bear team. They tend to come up with those things. Great catch, just the 1 foot. Obviously the other one didn't get down. Nice catch on Cook's part.
Of course, there was a story earlier in the week that Cook had asked for a trade. I mean, the only tight end among all those at that position in the AFC with more receiving yards than Jared Cook is Rob Gronkowski. But he was only a part of a little better than 40% of their snaps last week against Indianapolis. He says he did not ask for a trade. And that is a catch, but again, unable to get the feet in bounds, or was it bobbled? It's incomplete either way. Terry Bradshaw and company standing by with a Visa halftime. Of course, that's in the Smithsonian. The uniform worn by the Hall of Famer Terry Bradshaw.
Tom, we were in Pittsburgh last week, and I got to tell you, walking up that stairway and seeing those 6 Super Bowl trophies, that was pretty impressive. That was kind of special.
Pump fake one way, Hasselbeck again in traffic in the end zone, and it's knocked down. 2 seconds remain. Tillman and Conti looking at one another saying,
I had that. You had it. No, I knocked it down. No, you knocked it down.
Tillman saying, come on, young man. You get your hands on it. You got to catch it.
Yeah, this is
let me handle it.
Interception written all. These kind of throws against this Bear defense is more wishful thinking than anything else.
So now Rod Baronis from 39 yards out. 3rd most accurate kicker in the history of the National Football League. Snap, good hold, and that one is right down the middle. So after the Cutler turnover, Tennessee able to get a field goal. The final seconds. A half dominated by Lovie Smith Chicago Bears. Fox NFL Sunday continues with a Visa halftime report in just a moment. Welcome back to Nashville, Tennessee. Set to begin the second half. The Bears will get the football with a commanding 31-5 lead. We invite you to follow your favorite team all season long. Just go to iTunes.com/NFL. Again, that's called vinyl. For many and many of you out there watching the game, that's what you used to listen to your music to.
I'm sad to say I'm old enough that I've got a fair share. And those were 45 too. Those were the old records. So
they used to have this thing called a turntable. Went around and around. You could set it at 32 for the big albums,
right.
45 on the little records, and then they had one for 78, which I never understood.
And you always love to put the records on there and
Right.
change the settings.
Right.
Sound like the Chipmunks or like the guy was on Too Much Value. You're old, man.
Hey,
I knew I was that old. I didn't know you were that old.
used to live in the Windy City. I look back and can't believe a long, long time ago. My, oh my.
Well, the one thing we haven't had here is a big kickoff return. Maybe Devin Hester could oblige us that way. That'd be the one thing the Bears haven't done yet today. Matt Hasselbeck's got to draw on all the veteran experience he can. Try to figure out something to get this Tennessee Titans team going.
So Barones kicks it away, and Hester 4 yards out of his own end zone. And tries to turn the corner, and is pushed out of bounds at the 22, and we check in for a halftime report with Laura.
I have a feeling Brian knows exactly the speak Mike Munchak gave to his team, which was the score is 0-0. We need to learn from our mistakes, which means hold on to the ball. No more sloppiness. When you are holding the ball, hold on to it with 2 hands. Lovie Smith obviously happy with the defense. Not so thrilled with the offense, saying the passing game has given us our mistakes. We need to concentrate on the running game. Defensive tackle Henry Melton right now questionable with a tightened back. They're going to work him out on the sideline, see if he can go.
Laura intimating I was down 31-5 a lot.
Well, I think that's exactly what she was saying. She'd have never known all those division championships she won with Baltimore, and of course a Super Bowl in that mix with a great defense like these Bears have. But in all seriousness, when you are on the losing end like Munchak is right now, is it a hard sell to your team?
You know, what you got to challenge them is simply saying, look, I don't care what the score is at the end of the game right now. We're going to prove what we are as a team based on how we play in this second half against a very good opponent. You got to challenge them. You got to challenge their pride to look better than they've looked. Right now, the score is secondary.
What is it?
Second down and 6, and Cutler immediately sacked. All the way back to the 15-yard line.
You know, the flip side of that is this Chicago Bear team right now, Lovie Smith, and you're just going to see this pressure coming from the extreme edges. A hard play-action fake. This is what frustrates Mike Tice. He's got a one-man route. He's got a maximum protection after a play fake, and here's his quarterback on the ground. The Chicago Bears equally need to show that they can put something together here, even though the score is clearly in their favor. Any kind of consistency that we haven't seen yet today.
Third time Cutler has been sacked, and he finds Marshall on a 3rd down and 15, well short of a first down. And tell you what, Brian, you know, we brought it up earlier in the second half, and I know we're probably going to have a lot of time to talk about it here in the second half, but there has to be some concern about this Chicago Bears offense. I mean, if it's not Forte today on one screen play and one long run, they have virtually been non-existent.
And over the last, they're coming off a tough outing against Carolina the same way. Is there something you can hang your hat on? Is there something to give you a chance to feel good about yourself offensively as you go into a more competitive schedule?
Short. A favorable Bears bounce. Titans will get the ball, their first possession of the 3rd quarter, starting from their own 41. Just underway here in the 3rd quarter. Our aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. Looking down at LP Field here in Nashville on a beautiful fall Sunday afternoon. And on first down, Hasselbeck. That's the same play they started the game with. On a reception by Kenny Britt. First go around, he fumbled the football.
And we're going to have to see a whole bunch more of this. It was absent in the first half, these types of throws to Britt, to Kendall Wright, to Washington down the field. This is a talented young receiving corps, but the Bears have been able to be in a very passive zone, making it tough to get the ball down the field.
58! 50, go!
Short drop. And off target with an eye on Kendall Wright. Second down and 10 for the Titans.
And we may very well see where Matt Hasselbeck has to use that veteran experience to check them into some of these plays when the Bears, on the occasion they do, bring the safeties down into the box, either for pressure or to stop the run, and see if they can get a matchup with these outside receivers. Although Lovie Smith did tell us he thinks he has the best set of corners in the National Football League. Here's some pressure. Here's one of those one-on-one opportunities.
And they give it to Johnson. And still on his feet, that's enough for a first down to the 29-yard line. He said not only the best ball hawking cornerbacks, which clearly they've been, the best tackling cornerbacks, he felt.
You can see all the Bears defense there. They bring 47 Conti down into the box. They like the one-on-one matchups. They're running away from the strength of the defense. Urlacher trying to get in there and make the play. Again, we made a point earlier with Chris Johnson. It's the lack of the big plays that's the difference for him right now. He's running hard. He's running okay. But he's not cranking off those 20, 30, 40-yarders like we saw a couple years ago when he had 2,000 yards in a single season.
Right back to the air, pump fake, and look into the end zone. And it's a touchdown! What a throw and what a catch by Nate Washington. Boy, that was beautifully done. And beating Jennings, who looked like he had outstanding coverage.
We've said it a million times. Deep balls are not a function of arm strength. It's timing. Jennings matched up here. A little double move right there. Jennings is right there. But the ball is thrown with just the perfect loft, just out against the sideline. Beautiful time and catch. A little bit of a late hit there. Might have been a penalty.
Well, yeah, and they're deep in Conti's pocket already. He got fined $21,000 for a contact to the head of a defenseless player last week. Going after is good, making it a 31-12 game. You can't make a better throw than that.
Perfectly timed ball in just the right position with just the right height.
Touchdown reception by Nate Washington. Kendall Wright, by the way, holding on to his stomach and making his way to the Titans locker room. We hope he's going to be all right. A 31-12 Chicago lead, and Hester will take a knee this time.
Let's go back and see a lot of elements go into a touchdown, but here you're going to see Chris Johnson deliver a great blow to Major Wright off the edge, times it perfectly, boom, turns it into a pancake. A lot of elements go into big plays down the field. Nice protection by Chris Johnson for his quarterback, Matt Hasselbeck.
And it appeared as though Mike Munchak was very upset there was not a penalty thrown on Conti after knocking Washington out of the end zone following the touchdown catch. So they'll give it to Forte. And another big run for Matt Forte. Across midfield, inside the 40, and dragged into the 32-yard line. And a penalty flag comes in, which leads you to believe they'll be adding yardage to this, either a horse collar or a face mask penalty.
Personal foul, horse collar tackle, defense number 33, 15-yard penalty, first down.
You can see it just at the end here. You get your hand in behind. Nice stiff arm by Forte, and just gets the very edge of it right here. I don't know that he really gets his hand. The idea is that you can't get your hand in behind the shoulder pads or the jersey. I don't know that he actually ever got it in there.
46-yard carry by Forte. This time Michael Bush in for Forte, and that's a gain of maybe a yard.
Well, you can see there's only 6 people in this box, and this is what Chicago thought they could hit all day in their 3 wides running package. Look at the Lance Lewis kicking out on a beautiful alley, and in the open field, there's no one smoother or prettier than Matt Forte down the field. Just so subtle with his movement, much faster than you realize.
Forte, a Pro Bowler last year. Got the big contract during the offseason. There was much to do about that, even going back to last season. Crossing route catch made by Bennett. And he's short of a first down, tackled at the 10-yard line, and we check in Los Angeles with Kurt Menefee.
Hey, Tom, thanks a lot. If you drafted Arian Foster, number one, you're having a good year. But the Texans having a good year as well right now. Houston over Buffalo, 14-9. Let's head back to Tom, Coach Billick.
All right, Patrick O'Neill, thank you very much. Talked about the Vanderbilt Bears, Cutler, Bennett. It's interesting to note that, DJ Moore and his accomplishments for what he did for Vanderbilt football. I mean, it's easy to point out Cutler and the all-time SEC leader in receptions in Bennett. But it was Moore in 2008 that ended Vanderbilt's bowl drought. He was a junior defensive back and wide receiver, caught 2 touchdown passes, added an interception in a win over Kentucky, sending Vanderbilt to the Music City Bowl, where they went on to beat Boston College. So he is very much equal to Cutler and Bennett on the Vanderbilt University campus. Bush for a yard. It'll bring up 3rd down and goal.
Down here in the red zone, should you choose to throw it, this is one of the areas I think the Bears have got to get better at. Right now, obviously, Brandon Marshall on pace for better than 100 receptions. He's got more receptions individually than the rest of the Bear receiving corps, including the backs, collectively. And they need to come up with that other guy. Now, when they get Alshon Jeffrey back, obviously Cullen Davis, the tight end, could be someone they're looking for as well.
They're going to throw it. And that didn't fool anybody. Especially Senderick Marks.
You can see here they're hoping everything will drop out underneath and let Forte, just an inside screen. You don't see this too often, just kind of a middle screen. Excellent job by Marks, kind of sniffing it out, not going anywhere.
25-yard field goal try now for Gold. Try to make it 34-12 Chicago, which he will do. So the big run by Forte sets up the field goal for the Bears. Flores for the band Big and Rich. Of course, Brian, I was thinking of you the other night here, the Country Music Awards they had in Nashville, Tennessee. What a night it was.
Yeah, one of only about 15 of those types of awards they have in country music.
So that one's the best one. It's right here, live in Nashville. That's the return brought up to the 17-yard line. I kept waiting for an appearance. Brian Billick alongside Blake Shelton. Vanderbilt Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee, Dudley Field. I was out there, coach, the other day and went sprinting along the sidelines here, and I said to my wife, I said, can't you see me scoring a touchdown? She said, well, that's the stuff that dreams are made.
That's right. Sauntering related.
Yeah, right. First down carry, ran a lot to get a little. 2 yards for Johnson. 34-12, Chicago in front. 7:20 to play, and Lance Briggs a bit slow to get up. Well, there's another guy. 7 straight years going to the Pro Bowl, just gets better and better. 31 years young.
Well, and it's kind of taken on the Derek Brooks role of that those great Tampa teams, as have on the inside Milton's kind of become the Warren Sapp. I don't necessarily want to make those kind of comparisons, but those kind of anchors are what this defense is built around, and those are 2 key positions.
Stevens, a tight end for a first down up to the 34. Call Star NFL to download NFL Mobile right now and get coverage of every NFL game.
Well, we saw a nice drive by Tennessee before. If they can kind of put another one together here, kind of piece their way down the field.
The protection once more, and a crossing pattern. It's Thompson. And And he's up to the 42, and we check in once more downstairs with Laura Oakland.
Tom, the Titans moving the ball. They're doing it without wide receiver Kendall Wright. We saw him go into the locker room. It's a sprained right shoulder. His return is questionable.
Laura, thank you very much. I hope Laura's staying warm down there.
Yeah, it's beginning to climb up a little bit. She'll be okay. We're going to see a shot down the field here to Washington, or possibly to, with Williams might be able to get there. Obviously, it hurts not to have Wright. He's got some great speed. We saw a touchdown with the vertical threat to Washington down the sideline. Chicago's giving them some opportunities. Matt Hasselbeck, given where they are in the game right now, 34-12, needs to take advantage of that. I know you've got to have respect for these corners, but you've got to challenge them, because this nickel and dime down the field, although it can be efficient, you're just bleeding to death slowly in a game that you're down 34-12.
Rod Marinelli. Oh, what a good guy. Very much enjoyed our time yesterday with Rod and Mike Tice and Lovie Smith. Third down pass incomplete, and the Titans are going to punt.
Talk about having Rod Marinelli and Mike Tice as your coordinators. These are former head coaches. That's a great resource for Lovie Smith to have guys with that kind of perspective in terms of working together, because that's the job as the head coach, to make sure that your offense and your defense complement one another.
I love the story you told about Mike Tice when he was still a player near the end of his career, actually at the end of his career.
He was Professor Gadget, best holding tight end in the history of the National Football League.
I didn't mean that. I'm at the minute where you talked him into coming back and playing a few games.
He regretted that one. I don't know if we have time right here. We'll tell you when he comes back, because it's a good one.
It is a good one.
Man, Mike Tice, now, when we were together in Minnesota, we fought like brothers, cats and dogs, but boy, he was a great one to be around. Good mind for the game, trust me.
First down, Bears leading 34-12, and Cutler looking around, finds Marshall. Breaks one tackle and went out of bounds with a 37. All right, I asked you the story.
Yeah, we were down in tight ends. Mike had played for me in Minnesota. Here, you're going to just see a little stop right on the outside against Brandon Marshall, using his size. But anyways, Mike Tice, I bring him back. We have a game against Cincinnati. I say, Mike, all I need is about a half a dozen plays to get me through the game. Can you do it? Yeah. He ends up playing 65 plays. All the other tight ends get hurt. Caught a career high. It was like 8 or 9 receptions for his career. Why? Because Cincinnati never covered it. They didn't put anybody on him. They just figured there's no way you're going to throw this guy. At the end of the game, couldn't even lift his arms.
That's good stuff. First down reception made by Hester across his midfield, and we check in again with Kurt Menefee.
Well, Arizona's been in a big hole all day against Green Bay, but when you got a player like Larry Fitzgerald, there's always hope. Check out the effort after the reception by Fitzgerald. He takes it 31 yards for the score, pulls them to within 10 at Lambeau, 24-14 midway through the third quarter. Tom, Brian, and Laura.
Kurt, thank you. Brian, you and I saw the Cardinals their best game of this season when they just dominated Philadelphia. And we marveled at the time, if only Larry Fitzgerald had not just Kurt Warner, but any quarterback that's been around for a while and stayed with one team and had success for a long period of time, i.e. Brady, Breeze, Rodgers, Favre. There are others. That hadn't been a story for Larry Fitzgerald in Arizona.
No, and he's got the kind of class. He's never going to bring it up or never make a point of it, but you have to look at envy sometimes when you can imagine what would have been like to have a quarterback like a Kurt Warner for an entire career, much like some of these other great names. He's still one of the great receivers in this game.
Cutler on a second down and 11. Blitz coming. Gets it away. And too tall for Marshall. The flag comes in late. And then another. Jason McCourty saying no, no, no. And I think they're saying yes, it is interference.
Pass interference. Defense, number 30. Automatic first down.
At the end of the route here, you're going to see now Brandon Marshall's a big man. And you're going to see here at the end of the route that holding right there, just that little grab of the arm. Now, Marshall had it out there, but had McCourty not reached up and grabbed the arm trying to fight his way into it, unfortunately, I think that's a legitimate call.
Cutler wants more to throw. Looking down the sideline. Perfect pass to the back shoulder of Marshall. And it's at the 9-yard line. 1st and goal, Chicago. This is the best the passing game has looked the entire afternoon.
Yeah, I think Marshall got away with a little one here. That's just that little subtle push. Not real bad. Not as bad as I thought it was. Just that little bit of a push with the right hand. You forget Marshall's 6'3", 230 pounds. This is a big man. So it takes a lot. You can't just cover him because he can smother you just with his sheer size in coming back on catches like that. Let's see if they run the ball here.
Forte will get it. He is driven into the ground after maybe a yard by Zach Brown, the rookie out of North Carolina.
And the reason I said that, Tennessee, looking at that 3 wides package, was very loose down in the red zone, trying to fill up the zones here down deep in the red zone. And the Bears very much want to be a team that can run against, you know, what they call that light box, the fewer numbers on the defensive front.
Second and goal, Cutler has it batted down and into the arms of Lance Lewis. And that's living right.
Yeah, this is just the way you draw it up. The hard part is getting the guy to tip it just right. Nice job bouncing up. There you go. Got a little gift from above. Mark's able to get his hands up, but right now that makes Lewis the second, or Lance the second leading receiver on the team behind Marshall. I'm just kidding.
First career reception for Lance Lewis. How about that? Got to really go out on a limb just to figure that's his first career reception. So now it'll be 3rd down and goal and a timeout for Chicago. Coming up this week, Fox College Saturday doubleheader. 11th ranked Oregon State against 14th ranked Stanford. Boy, that's a big one. Then 2nd rate Kansas State. How about Bill Snyder and the Wildcats?
Some good coaching
on TCU.
Good coaching going on. Bill Snyder and Mike Riley at Oregon State. Boy, is there anybody that does a better job with less facilities, resources, the players you get there? Mike Riley's a heck of a coach that a lot of people aren't aware of.
Saturday, 2:30, 11:30 a.m. Pacific on Fox. It'll get underway. And look at the NFC North. Minnesota, a tough one later today on the road in Seattle. Green Bay leading by 10 over Arizona at Lambeau Field. A little over midway through the 3rd quarter there. Third and goal for Cutler and the Bears from the 5. And it's incomplete. He's very lucky that wasn't intercepted. Derek Morgan had him around the legs. And then Jason McCourty very nearly came away, or Werner, I beg your pardon, with an interception.
And this is just a 4-man rush on the right side. Gabe Carimi letting the edge rusher get in. You know, Jay Cutler, he's lighter than we've seen in years past. Wanted to be nimbler. But he also said, I can't get hit like I did earlier in my career. They gave up so many sacks. He's still 3rd most in sacks, getting sacked in the league right now. And he just doesn't have that size, or he's at that age where that has an accumulative effect on him.
Field goal from 22 yards out. Good by Gold. And that'll make it a 37-12 lead for Chicago. Well, the Red Cross does such a great job, and we invite you, if you're able, to make a donation. Visit redscross.org or text Red Cross to 90999. And if you're able to make a $10 donation, any donation. But for $10, dial that number, text that number, and the American Red Cross will put that money to good use.
They do such a great job. I tell you, it amazed me living on the East Coast and what we all just went through. We were very fortunate to not have, particularly in the Mid-Atlantic, what hit up obviously up in the Northeast. but how quickly the Red Cross kicks into action. It's stunning to me when so many things are going on, how quickly they make their services available, and obviously much appreciated. Interesting relationship between Jay Cutler and Mike Tice. Again, Tice, a longtime line coach, tight end himself, kind of brings a toughness to it. He and Jay have a very good relationship. A lot of people have talked about it. There's a toughness to Mike Tice. A lot of give and take there, and that's what Jay appreciates because he allows the give and take.
Reynard looking for one and none there. Great coverage by Armando Allen, former standout running back from Notre Dame. Ryan Urlacher. And coverage very good on Johnson at the interception. He returned for a touchdown. Stripped the football from behind on Johnson. And the beat goes on for Urlacher in the Chicago defense. A lot of the guys on the team starting to grow facial hair here in the month of November. Although Urlacher says his will be gone tonight.
Just wash his face and that'll come on.
And Johnson drawing the ball loose, or saying incomplete. Jennings flexing his muscles.
Again, just trying to get the ball into the hands of your playmakers quickly. The quarterback's got to help him a little bit there. Had to recognize that Jennings was out front of that. Again, with this Bear defense, the ability to jar the ball loose didn't turn into a turnover there, but it just seems like the ball's on the ground constantly the way these guys come in, as physical as they are in their tackling.
Second down. Drop it off to Johnson. Good cut. And able to pick up 7. You know, you get back to Jennings, I think a lot of people forget last year in his second year as a starter, he was benched. Dropped a number of interception chances. Got the cold shoulder in free agency. He was looking for a big payday that never came. The Bears re-signed him. He had a great offseason. And as the third quarter comes to an end, he has 6 interceptions so far this year. Fox NFL Sunday continues after a break from your local Fox station.
That's quarterback coach Jeremy Bates. Between Cutler and Marshall, they go back to their Denver days. This is a big part of what they've tried to do here. Mike Tice, the offensive coordinator, but he lets these three kind of orchestrate the passed offense, even down to the verbiage. Cutler very comfortable with the success they had in Denver, and obviously bringing Marshall from Denver, so they're trying to build on that relationship as they go forward.
Flag comes in before we begin the fourth quarter.
False start. Offense, number 18. 5-yard penalty.
Well, they have had more penalties today on tight ends for illegal formations. Now wide receivers, a couple of penalties today.
It's just a little flinch here by Britt right there. Just drives you nuts as a coach. I mean, you're standing outside, you're looking inside, you can see the ball now. You probably can't even hear the quarterback. Just drive you nuts as a coach, particularly an offensive line, former offensive lineman like Mike Munchak. Hard for him to understand sometimes.
That makes it even more difficult. 3rd and 2 turns into 3rd and 7, and Tillman just an outstanding play on Damian Williams.
Just the open field tackling here. You can see a beautiful job. Square up right there. These guys, the best, most physical set of corners, he felt like, in the league, and a big part of that is corner. It's not a matter of just being physical, it's having the athleticism to make a play in the open field. That may be the toughest thing to do defensively, to take on these great athletes in the open field and get them down on the ground.
Usher with a big return earlier today. 44 yards. Tackled inside the 10-yard line. Good punt here by Kern. They're back up Hester to the 27-yard line. And he's up to the 35. 14-10 to go in Nashville. Lovie Smith's Bears looking to go to 7-1. $37-12. Ryan Urlacher going to hang out on the sideline, catch a breath, and have a little chat with Mike Tice as Jay Cutler and the Bears begin this drive from their 35-yard line. And Forte, a hard 4 on first down. You know, Brian, we've talked about it already. I mean, you never apologize for winning games, ever. There are a lot of teams that get upset on any given weekend around the National Football League. That has not happened one time to the Chicago team. The only game they lost was against the Green Bay Packers, who, yes, lost their season opener, but really gave the Bears a drilling in Chicago's only loss. The combined record of the Bears' opponents so far this year, 15 wins against 28 losses. Now that will come to a grinding halt at the end of this game today. Catch is made short of the first down by Bennett. And we'll talk more about that in a little while. Some other games around the NFL, the Redskins. I guess that's an upset. I mean, I don't know how much of a favorite Washington is really against anybody. Carolina beating them. Green Bay in front of the Cardinals at Lambeau Field. And boy, what an impressive win that would be if Indianapolis can hang on. Both those teams trying to get with a win to 5-3.
Yeah, both those teams clearly surprises, and for them to be competitive where they are now, both with rookie quarterbacks, bodes well for the future of both those franchises.
Cutler looking around. Well, that's like a smart point going right there. Flag is down. But Cutler pulled back up, waited for the defense to commit, and then dropped it off, but it might come back.
Holding, defense number 91. Penalties decline. First down.
Well, and this is what Cutler did at Vanderbilt. I mean, his ability to make plays out of nothing. He's an excellent athlete. He gets to the outside. Of course, this is designed to the outside. He was just obviously intended to throw it underneath, but now he's buying time. And he's got such a great arm, and he's got such a quick release for a big arm. He can make these kind of plays because the ball goes out of his hands when he wants it out of his hands. This could be a good solid drive for them. They need this drive to create some of that consistency we're talking about, Tom. The concerns, obviously, for them to consistently, and it begins with the running game for me, for the Bears right now. This offensive line,
Well, coming up on Fox tomorrow, Bones and the Mob Doctor are back with all new episodes. First, when Booth and Bones go on the hunt for a murderer, there are too many suspects to choose from. Then, an imprisoned mobster will ask Grace to do the unthinkable. An all-new The Mob Doctor. It all starts tomorrow, 8 Eastern, 7 Central on Fox. Second down and 9. Looking for Marshall. Beautifully thrown ball from Cutler and a touchdown. They can't lay it out there any better than that.
we've seen 2 of the prettier vertical shots you're going to see all year long. We saw earlier with Hasselbeck to right, and now Cutler to Brandon Marshall. Again, just beautifully timed. This is straight down the field. Not a lot of design to this. I know where I'm going to be. Got away with a little bit of a shove there. Again, you remember how big Marshall is. But this is simply, look, you be there when you're supposed to be there, doing what you're supposed to be doing, because I'm going to launch this thing up well before I know you're actually there. Beautiful, beautifully thrown ball by Jay Cutler.
Second touchdown pass of the game by Cutler. That one for 39 yards. To the man they went out and got from Miami to be an impact receiver. And boy, has Brandon Marshall become that. Fourth 100-yard receiving game with his new team for Brandon Marshall, and his receptions through his first 8 games in any season, 58 of them now, ties Johnny Morris. Boy, what a great player he was, for more receptions by a Bear through the first 8 games in a season.
You got to go back here and you got to see how this begins. Jay Cutler, he knows the pressure's coming. He sees it right there. He knows he's got to get the ball up. Beautiful launch point. It's like dropping it in the bucket at the back of the end zone. Anything flatter, that had been knocked down. Beautifully thrown ball under some pressure. Brandon Marshall and Cutler obviously have that relationship, as we talked about, coming from Denver, that the great ones have in terms of the quarterback receiver, that nuance between knowing where the guy needs the ball, what the timing of it may be.
Another strip by Tillman. Is this another defensive touchdown? No. And Hasselbeck going to be flagged for a horse collar tackle. Tillman again with a strip. What a player, having quite a year. Kelvin Hayden picked it up and is tackled down at the 1-yard line.
Well, what do you say? Just look at, he just has such body awareness. He's not trying to make a tackle there, and it's just
Personal
unbelievable.
Foul, roughness, passing team for a horse collar tackle.
I'd hate to play this guy in
Number 8,
basketball.
half of this to the goal. First down.
Because it just picks it clean every time. Unbelievable.
He really is.
You know, just the awareness there. You know, I tell you what, and I'm probably getting ahead of myself here a little bit, but this is MVP type quality in the league right now. I don't know of anybody. You always think in terms of a defensive guy being a defensive end, maybe an Ed Reed, a free safety in the middle. But I can't think of another defensive player that is impacting the game the way this guy is right now.
Couple of more forced fumbles today. 4 of them in the game now for Tillman.
Well, we were with Rod Marinelli yesterday, and he told him their mantra is +1. And that means we want one more turnover. We want to get one more turnover from our opponent than we give up. Well, they're ahead of that just a little bit.
I don't know about anybody else out there, and there are a lot of people watching right now that have seen a lot more football than I have.
That's unbelievable.
You, Brian, I have never seen a player in one game have 4 forced fumbles. Never.
And it's the confidence that he has in the rest of his teammates as well, that they're going to cover him if indeed going after the ball maybe doesn't yield the tackle you want. Maybe a guy breaks a tackle because of that. But this game has been and always will be about 2 things: explosive plays and turnovers. And right now, the Chicago Bears, I've been fortunate enough to be involved with some pretty good defenses that were pretty good at taking the ball away, but never as calculated and as with the mindset that these guys have right now.
So Tillman came in this year with a pair of interceptions, both of which he returned for touchdowns. He now has 7 forced fumbles on the year. 36 in his career. Tiptoeing out of traffic is Cutler, and a touchdown pass once more to Marshall. So another turnover leading to another touchdown. Yes, indeed. A salute to you, Charles Tillman.
You alluded to Jay Cutler being the point guard. That was a brilliant play by Jay Cutler. Staying alive in that pocket in the crowd. I think there's only Chicago Bear fans left.
Yep. A lot of them here.
They're excited about it.
And after his goodbye gold, they're over halfway to 100. In points and forced turnovers. First time the Bears have scored 50 or more points in a game since December of 1980, when they put up 61 against their rival Green Bay Packers. And Brandon Marshall, a big reason why his first career 3-touchdown game.
Well, and the fact the way he can just use his size in conjunction with his athleticism, and this You know, again, we saw this one earlier in terms of getting away with just a little bit of a push-off. There again, the size down the field. The coverage was very good there, but he is so big, has such great hands, much better speed than you think from a guy that size. Great combination for one of the top receivers in the game right now.
Still 10-20 to go, and Johnson with a big burst into the secondary. And he races right by would-be defenders, and he will go the distance for a touchdown. 80-yard run for Johnson, who already has the NFL record for 80-yard touchdown runs. That is his 5th. So obviously he's still got that burst of speed once he's into the secondary.
Well, and this is the first time I've seen him now where he gets this hole. We talked about right now, everybody has the angle, but this is the first time I've really seen that burst of speed that yielded him that better than 2,000 yards in 2009. Of course, Tennessee going to go for 2 here. He's got to be excited. He's played well and run well the last couple games. Had a rough start to the early part of the season. One of the lone bright spots for the Tennessee Titans today.
28th career 110-plus yard rushing game for Johnson. It's 4 games in a row he's gone over 90. So like you said, after beginning the year's first 3 games, he had a total of 45 rushing yards. He had a big day against Houston, then came back against Minnesota at 15 carries for 24 yards. And now the last 4, 91, 195 against Buffalo, 99 against Indy. And thanks to that 80-yard gallop, 134 today. Titans are going to go for the 2-point conversion.
Let's go! Team! Let's go!
And catch is made by Kenny Britt. Take on 2 more to make it 51-20. (51-20), Bears in front. Jay Cutler, it appears his day is over. A number of the backups were already in on defense prior to that 80-yard touchdown run by Johnson, and Jason Campbell is starting to get loose, the backup quarterback to Cutler, over on the Bears sideline. And he just got his helmet, so it looks like he's coming in. Only one final in from early action around the NFL. Detroit shellacking Jacksonville 31-14, and the onside kick recovered by McManus, who already blocked a punt in this game, which led to a touchdown. Penalty flag is down. I'm not sure if somebody jumped a little too early. Yep.
Kicking team number 59.
He declined.
5-yard penalty added to the end of the kick. First down.
Assessed at the end of the kick.
Yeah, they for obvious good sense, they changed that rule a few years ago that you shouldn't be penalized for turning down a penalty against a team, so they just added on to the end of the kick. And now this is, even though we're at 10 minutes, this is 4-minute territory mentality for the Chicago Bears. Can we pound away? I don't know that you're going to see a lot of passes here. Can we pound away and draw this clock now, finish this game off?
Campbell, formerly a #1 pick of the Washington Redskins back in 2005. 5 years he was a starter for their last 3.5 seasons. Armando Allen. Gain of 11 on first down. You know, we talked about the Bears' schedule and how things are going to really turn the other way beginning now. 15-28, the record against their opponents. But after today, over the next 4 weeks, 17-6. That's going into action today, and that would be the toughest schedule over the next 4 games. They won't play a team with a losing record until week 17. That would be the Lions. But in the next 2 weeks especially, I think a lot of us are going to have perhaps a much better gauge of how good this Chicago team Brian really is. Let's go to Los Angeles and Patrick O'Neill.
Tom, thanks a lot. The Broncos a little over 2 minutes away from going 5-3. Peyton Manning, his third touchdown of the day, his second to Eric Decker. It's a 31-20 ball game. Peyton Manning, 291 and 3 touchdowns. What a year he is having. Tom and Coach Billick.
Patrick, thank you very much. For these next 2 games for Lovie Smith, Brian, it's going to be the Houston Texans coming to Chicago and then going to Candlestick Park for the Niners.
And interesting games, as you've talked about, Tom, that will challenge them. Houston offensively has the ability now to make a Chicago Bear team with the offensive things that we've talked about here kind of keep up with you. Now, San Francisco, that's just going to be a heavyweight match. This is going to be body blow after body blow. They got Minnesota twice in 3 weeks, and then Seattle, who plays very, very good defense, to challenge this offense of the Bears. And then, of course, the Green Bay game. That's the one that you really have an eye on to see. Can indeed, unless Green Bay should falter, can the Chicago Bears keep up in a track meet, if indeed it comes to that, with the offensive mentality they have here? They have the talent with a strong-arm quarterback, obviously a Brandon Marshall. But there again, the other elements that you need in terms of if they do want to take away a Brandon Marshall, there's someone else you can go to for those big plays. They hope to get Alshon Jeffrey back. They really think that will be big for them to give them another big play threat to balance with Brandon Marshall.
Armando Allen, a gain of 9. I think any Bears fan would tell you, look, they got unbelievable fans. But I know a lot of them, and they're all, let's wait and see where we are really after these next 2 games. The one team that you could point at and say they are among the elite teams that the Bears have played so far. And again, you give them all the credit in the world for beating whoever it is you play. But the only elite team they have played so far this year, they got kicked around pretty good against Green Bay. Sacked 7 times. Cutler threw 4 interceptions in that game.
The good thing is you don't hear the questioning of Jay Cutler, whether that's right or wrong or not deserved. But we see what this Bear team's, we saw last year what this Bear team is when Cutler's not there.
Yep.
That turned ugly real quick.
Sure did.
So the questions about the Bears and how far can they really make a run at this championship aren't as centered on Jay Cutler as they are we going to be good enough offensively? I will tell you this, and I spend a great deal of time looking at this, and yes, it's a quarterback-driven league. I think we're seeing, whether it be San Francisco, whether we see it here in Chicago, a defense is going to make more of a difference this year. In the last few years, we've seen a last-place Green Bay Packer team defensively, a New York Giant team statistically I'm talking about. Defense is going to be more of a difference in the run this year than I think it has in the last couple of years.
Allen tackled at the 15-yard line. We're under 7 minutes to go. Of course, you saw the other teams in the NFC, those with the top records. Brian, Atlanta trying to go to 8-0, will be at home against Dallas later tonight. The New York Giants, I've had a chance to see them the last couple of weeks. That's another impressive team, the defending Super Bowl champion. And the Niners, the Giants kicked them around pretty good out in San Francisco 3 weeks ago. But they responded now with back-to-back wins.
You look at each of those teams, it's one of those, I think it's great. It's great for the league. I like to sit here and a nice little delay inside. I could make a heck of a case. I could give you 3 points for each of those teams as to why I think they could go on and win a Super Bowl, and I'll give you 3 things why they may not make it there. And that's the balance that we have right now.
All right, well, while we're talking about the teams and then the 3 things you love about Chicago and maybe the 3 things that hold them back.
Well, the obvious thing, defense and the way they take the ball away, that supersedes everything. The thing that's going to hold them back, the lack of a consistent running game and that balance to Brandon Marshall. That would be the biggest things that I worry about.
Of course, they're hoping, as you brought up earlier, that Alshon Jeffrey, the rookie wide receiver out of South Carolina, will return soon from the broken hand. Again, hard running by Armando Allen. On 1st and goal, he's knocked down to the 7-yard line, but they get Jeffrey back, and that might be the element which takes away all the attention from Marshall.
The qualifier to it all for this Bear team, and they were very much in that championship run, is the turnovers. You know, regardless of how your offense is or isn't, or the consistency, when you can put them on a short field, when you can score on your own. And the factor we see it today, haven't been up to this point, is special teams. What happens if Devin Hester starts to get cranked up and they start getting more of the disciplined returns that Lovie Smith talked about getting out of Hester, like we saw that lead to a big play today? That combination can be insurmountable. And then the question becomes for the Chicago Bears, okay, when you face an Eli Manning, when you face an Aaron Rodgers, you know, in succession, well, a hot Matt Ryan now, okay, that's fine. But you get into the championship bracket, now maybe you face one of them, but now you're facing the San Francisco 49ers that are built more like you. You may not have to face the litany of, you know, great quarterbacks. So the dynamic in the NFC, which is clearly the stronger conference for my money right now, is kind of interesting as we get closer to the playoffs. And the way this thing stacks up, the Bears are right smack dab in the middle.
Sure are. Once more on Mondo Allen, this time dropped for a loss to the 14-yard line by Zach Brown.
You know, let's just spend a minute on this Titans team going forward. It was unfortunate. I hate, and I love Matt Hasselbeck, but it's unfortunate Jake Locker is not healthy, because that's what this season really has kind of boiled down for Mike Munchak and his Titans. How much can we develop in this season? Can we be one of those teams in, say, December that gets a nice run of some wins that leads to next year? He's got a very young, talented group offensively on the outside. Need to do some things with the offensive line. They're a little bit long in the tooth, so they've got to readdress that. But Jake Locker is a young man that they think a lot of, and these are invaluable missed reps for him in terms of Locker there in the sweats. Is he going to be a great quarterback? I don't know. He was the 8th pick of the draft. He's clearly got to be their franchise guy. He saw some things. You can see it right there. Still trying to maintain a leadership role with this young team. It is a team in transition, and one that's got to learn these tough lessons.
Titans have not been to the playoffs since 2008. Fourth down, they hand it off rather than tacking on more points against this Tennessee team, and the Titans will get it on down. And for the final time, we thank our friends from DirecTV for the aerial shots here in Nashville. And well, you go across the bridge here to your left and right up Broadway. Different sort of Broadway. It's a country music Broadway.
It's a great setting,
in Nashville,
because you have a lot of times when you have these stadiums in the cities, it limits the tailgating. And I know in Minneapolis, all the years I was there, it's kind of limiting. But the way it's set up here, as you can see, you have all that parking across from the river. You can be downtown, walk across the bridge, have all the tailgating. This is a great location.
Sure is. Caught by Damian Williams, and that's up to the 30-yard line. They've been waiting on Williams to get going. A third-round draft pick out of USC, and has been very quiet his first 2 years in the league.
Well, you add in the list of you got Kendall Wright, of course. Nate Washington's a little longer into the league.
Go! Bingo, 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 put the team!
Again, you throw in Cook, the tight end. This is a very young group that's got some potential to continue to develop. The offensive lines, when they need to address their resources, both in the draft and maybe free agency next year.
Johnson still running hard. He's up to the 37-yard line. 3 minutes to go here in Nashville, and the 51 points allowed, the most in this stadium. You may remember they moved to Tennessee in 1997, but did not move into this stadium until 1999. You played a lot of big games here, Coach Millett.
Some great matchups. They were still in the old AFC Central, you know, them and Jacksonville, a part of what is now the AFC North. They left to go into the AFC South. Some great battles here between the Ravens and Tennessee, Jacksonville and Tennessee. Matt Hasselbeck fighting to the end here. You know, for a veteran like this, at this stage in his career with a young team around him, this is going to put them at 3-6. Obviously a heck of heck of a hole to work out of as they go forward with different priorities in mind for Mike Munchak and the Titans as they go forward.
Batted away. That time by Zach Bowman. We've reached the 2-minute warning. 51-20 Chicago. Big day for the Bears. 51-20. Forcing 5 Titans turnovers. 4 of those forced fumbles. Jarred loose by Charles Tillman. 4th down sack. All the way back at the 25-yard line by Wooten. He returned a block punt for a touchdown in this game. Sure, Pat Fitzgerald would be excited to watch 2 of his former players out of Northwestern have a big impact in the game today. Sherrick McManus blocked that punt. Former Wildcat under Pat Fitzgerald, and Wooten picked it up and ran it into the end zone. And it looks like Charles Tillman is coming out to play some offense.
Well, they're going victory formation.
Oh, come on, you got to let him run one in. Count on a great day.
No, that'd be rubbing it. He goes standing behind the quarterback and just he's there to tackle a guy if disaster hits. We love this formation as a coach. Absolutely love it. Of course, if we were in Tampa Bay, these guys would be knifing in here.
You're still not happy about that. I mean, you're really not happy. You got to get over it.
Well, we have a game in Tampa Bay in a couple of weeks. That's right. They may not let me out of practice, and they won't ask. But if they do, I'll give them my opinion on it.
Tillman, born in Chicago, over on the south side. His mom and dad, native Chicagoans. Arbria and Donald Tillman, the son of an Army sergeant. You see all 4 of the military, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, represented on decals on the back part of his helmet. Tillman attended 11 schools from kindergarten through the 12th grade, and he has done remarkable work not only on the field but in the Chicago community for children with terrible diseases and trying to make dreams come true for them. 3 times has been nominated for the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year. Husband, father, and one heck of a football player.
Well, if someone wants to argue the MVP declaration I made, I'm happy to look at the tape. You can show me the tape, but I don't know. I've not seen anyone that had more of an impact on a team and a game than that young man.
So the Bears are going to go to 7-1. They go back to the merger in 1970. This is the 8th time they've started in this fashion. And every time they've gone to the playoffs, they have a lot more than that on their mind here. But next week, that'll be quite a battle in Chicago against Houston. 51-20, our final. Back with more in just a moment.